Oh, I'm out of focus. That's a metaphor. What's going down? Marcus, you're all good. Oh, cool. I already see a lot of interaction. I do want to make this interactive because this is part two. So part two, I kind of ease up on the questions. I mean, not really, but you can interrupt me. Depending on how much you interrupt me, will determine whether or not I ask our guest today for a part three. So it's probably going to happen anyway, honestly, because I do have a lot of questions. Everyone else has a lot of questions here. So first things first, three announcements. So first of all, obviously, if you're a part of BeatStars, you're aware of Beat ID. If you're not aware of Beat ID, I guess I'm going to make you aware. Beat ID is a game changer for all creators. Whether you're a producer, an artist, record label, music public, it's like Content ID, but on steroids. So with Beat ID, you'll have access to data information on where and how your copyrights, which are your musical assets, your intellectual property, are being used across global social applications, not just YouTube, all over the place. So check out the link in the chat to learn more. Also, my man Swede from 808 Mafia, in partnership with Artists and Relations, has teamed up with BeatStars to bring you an opportunity to create a brand new beat using his sound pack titled Trap Secrets. If you've logged onto your panel, it's a guy that looks like blonde hair Jesus. That's kind of how we refer to him, which is probably problematic for a number of reasons based on historical accuracy, but we're not going to go there. Anyway, you grab the sound kit, submit your original beat, and you could win the ultimate production prize pack. Find more info at swede.beatstars.com. And that, I'm all discombobulated, right? Yeah, there we go. There it is. And then lastly, Monday, December 22nd, before Christmas, we're having a holiday beat listening party. We'll be playing your beats, checking in with the community, and having some fun. Submit to the holiday beat listening party playlist right here. There's the link. I almost got it this time. All right. Let me stop being an utter mess and bring on today's special guest, KloudNine. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great. So as I said, today will be more interactive. I'll try to address as many questions as I can throughout the hour. Just submit them in the chat, please.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool. Well, thanks again for doing a part two and possibly a part three. I don't know. We'll see what I can convince you to do here.
I'm down for a part three already, man. Sign me up. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
we might not get through everything today.
Well, that was easy. That makes my job a lot easier then. Usually I
Yeah.
wait till the end to put pressure on the guest to commit to an additional
Trilogy.
Yeah, it's got it. And then from trilogy, it might just become a what's a word for trilogy but for the fourth?
I don't know. Quadruple. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It doesn't sound good. I gotta Google it now. Trilogy, but for four. Let's see what it is. Yeah, it's quadrilogy. That sounds terrible. I'm not using that word. Okay, so first things first. Has your brand grown since the last time you were here, would you say?
Yeah. Big time. Yeah. It's crazy because a lot of times people, well, I ain't gonna say people, a lot of times as producers, we only see what we only can know what we see about a person. But for me personally, my brand has grown a lot behind closed doors. So the reason why I don't have a YouTube channel or why I'm not always live is because I'm constantly working on securing like new deals, learning stuff and things of that nature to increase what I plan on doing in the next like 2 to 5 more years. Like I'm always like I have different yearly plans and stuff.
Okay, so you're setting your benchmarks year by year. So you have a certain number of goals for this year and then this year and that. Do you write these down?
Yeah.
And then you revisit them periodically, or how does that work?
I'll write them down. I'll visit them periodically. Actually, I knocked out majority of all. Well, no, I did knock out all my goals to a point where I had to add more. So it just depends on. One of the things I always find out is that the more you learn, the more you find new goals that you want to achieve, and that's kind of it's been like my journey since like maybe 2020 so far.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of producers and they have goals, but they're kind of vague. Like,
Hmm.
I want to make it off of music, or I want to even saying something like I want to quit my job and make music. That's still kind of vague.
Right.
How specific are and the other thing too is that I don't really often see them writing their goals down.
Yeah, you gotta write them
Um,
down. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that's one of those techniques that's I think writing just in general is an underrated technique when it comes to motivating, manifesting, whatever the case is. And
Hmm.
so for you, I want to know how specific are like give me some examples of some of your 2021 goals that you knocked out. How specific were they?
Okay. One of them pretty much was I wanted to get at least two sync placements this year, right? So that was one of those goals. I wanted to get at least two of them, which I did. But something like super specific that I'm aiming for 2022 is to actually pay out my mom's house straight out, all cash. And I actually know how to get it. She doesn't have too much left. So that's one of my main goals. Her birthday is she don't have social media, so I know she's not gonna see this. So her her birthday is in September. So basically, I wrote this goal down for 2022. Save up this amount of money every single month. I know how to achieve this amount of money from my sales and everything else I do, and then pay it on her birthday, which is in September. So that's one of my goals for 2022. That's like actually my biggest goal for 2022.
That reminds me, you said she doesn't have social media, so she's not gonna see it. But when Saipuda was on here, his auntie was in the chat.
Oh, yeah, it was true. Yeah, I remember that.
So be careful. You never know.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. I'm personally curious, and probably a
Mhm.
lot of other producers are curious too. God, I got an iPhone that's making noise. I don't know how to use this damn thing. Did beat sales fluctuate a lot over the summer, like massive drops and kind of meteoric rises, or were they pretty steady for you?
My my sales have been like pretty steady. Like I haven't had like knock on wood, I haven't really had any bad months. I honestly thought that December was gonna be like a tough month so far, but I already made more money in December than maybe I did during November for Black Friday and stuff like that. But
Mm.
I haven't really had any down sales or anything like that. The reason why I know is I use BeatStars to kind of gauge my sales reports every month or every week to kind of like see where I'm at with sales. So I mean it might fluctuate by maybe like a few $100s, but I'm always in like this certain type of point. But I've also seen like the increases too with what I make per month on BeatStars as well.
Okay, because there was a period of time, I think at the beginning of the summer or late spring, where a lot of producers were expressing drops. They were expressing that they were experiencing drops in sales.
Well, I can say this though. I would say during the pandemic, sales were up a lot more. But I think the reason why is if you experience sales during the pandemic and you experienced a whole lot, that was because a lot of artists, one, they was getting a lot of refund money. Two, they was in the house, so they couldn't really go out. So all they could do is just record music, right? So now that everything is lessening up a little bit, people going back to work, uh, you know, they gotta, they getting on with their day jobs again and stuff like that. So a lot of times they're not on their computer as much, or they're not active online as much looking for beats. So I can personally say that. Now, if it pertains to that, between the pandemic, I seen my sales go down a little bit, but it went steady, after that. So I can say if that's what you're pertaining to, then yes, that's the reason why as well too.
All right, so let's jump right into some gems, and I want to talk about a tweet that we exchanged about I don't know a couple
Let's
hours
get
ago,
it.
because this was actually I've had this question prepared since I tweeted that that list. So a lot of people want to know shortcuts to selling beats, and that's something that a lot of people are monetizing. This is the shortcut to selling beats. Give me
God,
$500 for
oh
this and
man,
that. I'll teach you the
ooh,
shortcuts.
boy.
Yeah, so let's breathe in, breathe out, because
Yeah,
we're not even going to address that.
yeah.
But to me, there aren't really real shortcuts for selling beats in the sense that there's just one action that you can take and you're there. I think they all take work.
Yes.
But I do believe there are ways to speed up the process based on what I've experienced. Um, and I'd like to share some. I'd like for both of us to share some, and I think you're interested in doing this. But I'll go first because this is
Okay.
something that I talked about on my sales funnel video. So using the free download in exchange for an email option on BeatStars is a shortcut to a lot of things. Number one, is a shortcut to building an email list for free because you don't have to really beg people for anything. You're giving something and you're receiving something in exchange for that. But it's also a huge shortcut for advertising on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, so forth, because you can import that email list once it gets to a certain number and create a lookalike audience with that. And basically, that's a shortcut because one, uh, you don't have to do any cold advertising. You don't have to spend time refining your audience. Two shortcuts already. And three, you don't have to spend the money doing that because you might end up advertising for a year or two just to get your advertising right. And that may be thousands of dollars. So to me, saving thousands of dollars and years of time is a shortcut. Um, Not everyone is ready for that piece
Right.
of information just because they're not there yet with, figuring out their whole business plan. But once you get there, I just like throwing that out there so that people know what their eventual end goal is for some of the actions that I recommend, like collecting emails. What's the end goal of that? Well, there are a lot of different end goals, and that's why I think to me that's one of the most powerful um, steps that producers can take. So I know you want to share a couple too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just fly out a bunch of these, and then you can ask questions if y'all want to ask questions in the chat after it pertaining to these. Just let me know. So I'm gonna just go through the list because I prepared one too. So mine was the beat star. My shortcuts was for me was the BeatStars playlist, the major BeatStars playlist that they have. Understanding how PROs work and how publishing works. Um, Let me see. SMS text marketing. DJ Payne already said the email is um, finding lanes of opportunity on BeatStars. And what I mean for that is like try to find different like popular genres that you think people may have a need for. And there's a way of finding that out. But if y'all want to ask the question on that, y'all can. And the next thing is BeatStars marketplace, just in general, like the data that you find on the marketplace. So those was kind of like some of my shortcuts as far as selling beats. I'm specifically talking about the shortcuts for selling beats. Those are some of the things I think that are very underutilized in the producer community. Also, I think that BeatStars.world is one of the most underutilized things ever, and it's amazing what BeatStar. And I'm not just saying that because I know people like, oh, he's a poster boy for BeatStars. No, I'm being real with y'all. Like that's what I use to become full time. Like I didn't use YouTube and all that other stuff. I mean, it's a part of our business, of course. But as far as educating and getting you on a path to financial success and just overall business, how to be a better human being and all that good stuff, I feel that BeatStars.world is very underutilized. So that was some of my shortcuts. So if y'all want to ask any questions about that, feel free.
Well, as I predicted, someone does want to know about the whole genre shortcut that you spoke on.
Okay, so I always, shout out to Rock Five. Me and him always talk about this, and one of the things we always say is that we got to use like a little bit of like a little bit of like for me, I have to use a little bit of my common sense, right? So it's for prime example, it's Christmas, right? If you go look at BeatStars top charts, the top beats are Christmas beats, right? So that should tell you that if you don't have no Christmas beats and you're good at making hip hop, trap, or pop, you can convert that to Christmas and make a whole bunch of Christmas beats. Actually, funny story, BeatStars brought this up 2 years ago in 2020 that was going to be something popping, and the people that paid attention, they did it. Unfortunately, I had a different path I was trying to go on with what I need to do before I could even go down that route. But I always made a note, right? So it's Christmas. Same thing for Halloween. There's not a lot of Halloween beats on BeatStars, right? So when they do these BeatStars playlists for Christmas and Halloween and all this other stuff, you have opportunity to shine. What was another one? Like summertime. I killed that. That was one thing I took a part of because I do a lot of pop beats, right? So when summer came around, I was in some of the BeatStars summer playlists, and I had a bunch of like different tracks show up for summer, and that's how artists found me. So that's what I mean. You got to kind of like think logically about what you're doing. And even though I'm telling you all these genres, by the time people see this, that might get filled up. So my best advice is, start studying what's prop like for instance, Afro beats, right? Afro beats are still on the rise. I think Afro beats about to be popping. I think that drill is still something that may be underutilized. I don't make any of those beats. I just love studying the stuff. I did that when I worked in corporate media. Part of my stuff I did was look at data. So just kind of use, some of that some of that common sense, and then pay attention to what's going on when it comes to these different genres. A lot of people got a lot of stuff on BeatStars that you wouldn't even believe. Like you wouldn't even believe. So you have an opportunity to stick out if you do it the correct way. I mean, if someone looking for Afro beats, don't make something that don't sound like Afro beats. Be a part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my 2 cents on the genre stuff.
So where are you looking at these data? So I know with the information that comes from BeatStars, my guess is it's coming from Mike Trampy. Shout out to him. He's using, I think, Google Trends.
Google Trends.
Okay, so that's your source as well.
Yeah, it's between Google Trends and BeatStars top charts, and every now and then BeatStars will kind of give something on Instagram that shows like artists on the rise or popular genres on the rise. So what I did was I wrote it down, just like how everything come full circle, y'all. I wrote it down on my notepad, so now I can go back to my notepad and I can go look and see, oh, okay, these are some of the genres that I think I can do. Let me try to get into this while they still underutilized right now.
Got it. Another shortcut I would say is collaborating with producers on BeatStars who are also working hard, because you're theoretically doubling your chances to sell your
Yeah,
beats.
yeah,
And that doesn't necessarily mean, a lot of people reach out to me and they might have like 10 beats in their catalog and 400
mhm,
plays, and I have, almost 1400 and like million, almost 5 million plays. So it's kind of like I'm probably not gonna collaborate unless like you're going through my collab service, and that's just being real because it has to be a mutual benefit. But there are a lot of
right.
other people who are in that same level, who are at the same level of experience as you, that would be willing to collaborate, and I would encourage that, the horizontal networking, not
Right.
necessarily shooting for the top people because
Yes.
they've already paid their dues. You know what I mean? And
Yes. Horizontal. Yes.
yeah, so a lot of horizontal networking, a lot of horizontal collaboration, um, that can pay off. I really think it can, and there are so many other benefits to collaborating too. You learn something about your process, you learn something new. You never know what's going to happen because you collaborate with someone and maybe I've seen that happen a lot. They're
I want to
connected to somebody, they get a placement, they get a viral hit, something or other.
Yeah, I want to talk briefly about that. So, um, I've been networking with Rock Five and COP Productions. Like those two guys, I'm locked in with for maybe like this year and probably all of next year. But one thing I can honestly say is this is how powerful collaboration works. I was not good at making Latin pop or reggaeton beats before I met Rock Five. Rock Five taught me a lot about how to do this. And because of him and COP, it made me be able to become part of a culture and a genre that I wasn't a part of before. And thanks to them, I actually got a bunch of my playlists. I got my playlist. I got a bunch of my beats added to BeatStars Latin playlist, and I got reposted by BeatStars Latin. And I think that's the beautiful part of collaboration is that like you you may learn something that you never learned before. Like I'm always learning something from Rock Five when it comes to production. And same with him. Like I'm like me and him work work on arrangement, because one of my gifts is I'm very good with arranging with arranging my beats. I'm really good with that, and that's one of the things that I think helps me shine out from my competition. So that's how collaboration works, y'all. Thanks to this man, I've gotten sales in a whole new genre that I wouldn't have been able to get in before. And we've collaborated on some. I've worked on some by myself, but that's how beautiful collaboration is. And right now we're working on a project called Legends Fist, and I'm excited about that. This man had put together a DJ Khaled album of beats, and I'm not gonna say too much about it. He's gonna talk about that on his Instagram, but I want to just tell y'all the power of collaboration. Also, another thing is too, don't just collaborate on beats, collaborate on ideas, collaborate on doing an IG live together, like build up your audience together. When DJ Payne talks about working horizontal, that means building up with the people that's building up with the same level that you are right now, right? So just don't think about beats. Think about, okay, let's really do something besides just beats. Let's do an IG live where we say we're gonna give away two beats, one from me, one from this other person, if we get a certain amount of people on the live, right? And we're gonna do a giveaway on there. That's how you do a fire collaboration, you know. So just think outside the box when you're thinking about collaboration. So I just wanted to really say that, because a lot of times producers may come on here and say, "Yeah, I'm cooking up with this person, I'm cooking up with that person." Yeah, but what's the end game, right? The beat done. Are we gonna promote it? You want to do an IG live where we kind of collaborate on what we're working on to get both of us, our buyers, integrated with both of us. That's how you really build an audience and potential opportunities in the future and stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to say
Yeah.
about that.
And on the subject of collabs, we have a question. Would
Mhm.
you say that when doing a collab, it's best for both producers to post that beat on both of their pages? I get this question a lot,
For
actually,
real?
and I don't know why I get the question so much, because I feel like, yeah, of course, we'd want to post
Mhm.
it as many places as possible
Right.
to increase our chances of sales. But there is this question. I think people think that it's going to create confusion, or that it violates some sort of etiquette. It doesn't. Please do. That's really the whole point of
I've never.
collaborating on a
y-
platform.
Yeah, that's weird. I never really had a I don't know. That's a weird question. Like I guess you would want to put it up on both pages, unless you're doing something with the producer where like you want to help them out and say, okay, we're exclusively releasing this on this person's page to probably help that producer get traffic. If you want to really help that producer out. So I mean, personally, I think it just depends on the conversation you want to have with that producer when it comes to that. But that was a really good question.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a question I get all the time, so it must be a good question. Back to playlists,
Hmm.
because you talk about, a big part of your marketing strategy being getting on these BeatStars placements. Are you just consistently submitting to all of their playlist opportunities?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can go deep
Oh,
into it if you want.
yeah, please.
Yeah. So okay. So in 2020, we all know about my story. Look at the other video I did with DJ Payne. But one of the things that I kind of saw was that BeatStars had a lot of playlist opportunities, and for whatever reason, it seemed like not too many people were submitting. I guess after this, a lot of people will. But I saw that as an opportunity, right? So if you ever have beat block, one of the best ideas you can do is go to beatstars.world, go to opportunities, go to the playlist opportunities, look at the ones that are closed, and it shows you all of the BeatStars playlist opportunities that they had in the past. Think about making a beat like that. Congratulations, you have gotten through beat block. I mean, it's I know it might be a little bit too simple like that, but that's what I did. I literally, when I didn't know what to make, I would go look at the BeatStars playlist opportunities. I would go study the artists, because I'm telling you, if you don't send the right stuff to BeatStars playlist, just make sure y'all submitting the right stuff, man. Because if you listen to between 2020 and now, whenever like Chris, or at the time it was Tia, would go on live, they would always say, don't be sending no trap beats to Afro beats. And the fact that they had to say it more than once mean that people were still doing it. You're not gonna get playlisted. That's not how that works. And I'm not a playlister, but in my experience, you go listen to the artist. Like I'm in BTS playlist. I'm in Blackpink. I'm in K-pop. Why? Because I actually listen to K-pop, and I actually did the beat that resembles that in my own way. And because of that, I got on the playlist, and I figured like, man, this might be a good way to get a lot of coverage and a lot of extra promotion and eyes on me. So like now I say I'm in about like maybe 10, 15 different BeatStars playlists. But the cool thing about it is that um that's free promotion, y'all. They promote these playlists everywhere, everywhere. So why would so it baffles me, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I looked at everything, and I might not submit to everything, but I try to. Like I don't submit to any of the drill stuff because I don't make drill. But anything else that kind of comes my way, I'll at least give it a try, right? And I'll submit. And sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. But you won't know if you never take that shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of got a lot of sales. I got a lot of plays on my beats and stuff like that. So, you know, that's one of the things I did. So that's kind of like I don't really know if there's not too much else to say. I just studied what every week I check what opportunities they got. That's the type of beats I'm working on. Done.
Cool. So way back, you posted your traffic referrals, and you said you're getting beat sales from platforms you're not paying for advertising on.
Mhm.
What are some platforms that surprised you as unexpected sources of sales?
That's a good question. Um, to be honest, I really don't use YouTube, and it's not one of my main sources. So I was actually shocked that I actually got a few sales from YouTube here and there. A platform called Lum. I don't even think this platform um is even existing anymore. But Lum, for me, to to me this is normal, but for a lot of other people this might be a surprise. Twitter is like my number one platform that I use, period, that I get beat sales from. uh Reddit was one of them I got a sell from. Audio Mac. So basically what happens, y'all, when you do this stuff, this SEO stuff that we talked about in the last video, when you put your beats up everywhere, it's not gonna. I think a lot of times we think, and I thought the same thing too. If 2 months pass and we've been posting every day on these platforms, that we're gonna get the sales. It may happen, it may not happen. So for me, everything that I did in 2020 is now starting to come around. So I'm getting sales here and there from SoundCloud, sales here and there from Audio Mac. I'm actually monetizing it on Audio Mac in a few different ways now. So these different platforms like Reddit, Facebook groups. So Google Analytics tells you all of this stuff. So for me, that was kind of like the Twitter thing wasn't a shocker for me, but I know it would be a shocker for y'all because most people use YouTube. So a lot of these platforms are like, I'll get a sale here and there, and then it just adds up to my overall sales. And I don't even post a lot on Audio Mac or SoundCloud no more because I have so much inventory now that it's just like I'll post like maybe once a month, here and there.
Got it. Someone, and I don't know the answer to this. Is there a way to find out if a sale was related to a playlist ad?
From BeatStars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ask the person. That's
Okay,
all.
that's fair.
That's that. This once again, I love y'all, man. I had to use my common sense. So I had that same problem, and so I was just wondering, like, okay, how can I figure this out? And it just hit me. Just ask the person. If someone buys a beat, and that's the part that me and Payne be talking about. Like when someone buys your beat, you gotta have what I call the tough conversation. And the tough conversation is talking to this person, saying, "Hey." Even if you got your autoresponder up and you respond or whatever, it's still personally reach out and say, "Hey, look, um, I'm curious, man. How did you discover my beat? Was it on? Because if it says BeatStars Marketplace, it's sold off the BeatStars Marketplace. So you could say, hey, how did you find my beat on BeatStars? I'm really curious. In return, I'll be willing to give you a discount, or I'll be willing to give you like a free untagged beat if you let me ask you a few questions about how you discovered my tracks." And from there, that's how I got a lot of data for what works for me for when I sell beats on the BeatStars marketplace and just not sell beats in general. But that's how you find out if you got to sell from a BeatStars playlist. Just ask the person that brought your beat, and there you have it.
All right, speaking of the BeatStars marketplace, you recently you tweeted about a bunch of myths, and now I'm getting my questions mixed up. But I want to talk about the other myths that you've busted about beat selling.
Oh, pull them
Um,
up, pull them up.
well, I
No.
got all of them here. It's just that you specifically tweeted, "I sold a $1,000 beat this weekend on BeatStars. I was discovered on the marketplace. I busted another myth. BeatStars don't have quality artist traffic." And I'm confused that as to why that was even a myth. That confuses me because like I personally don't argue this anymore because it's silly, but there's a contingent there was back when I was engaging, a contingent of producers who swear that creating your own website is the way to go to sell beats. Don't be on BeatStars because you can just create your own. Of course, you can do that,
Yeah.
but the marketplace on BeatStars is searchable. It's a YouTube, it's a Google, it's the number one. I guess I shouldn't say I don't know. My guess is it's the number one source for beat leases online, and so it's a source of discovery. Just like
Mhm.
people search on YouTube for new music and discover new music on YouTube, people are searching BeatStars to discover new producers. That's been your experience, would you say?
Yes, my experience has been. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let's talk about this for a couple of minutes. So, all right, I because the reason why I said is because for a long time everybody was saying that BeatStars marketplace traffic was like trash. They got robots. They don't like. I'm gonna put it out there. Y'all know I be on this controversy. So sometimes people were saying that BeatStars had bots. They had more producers than artists. All kind of crazy stuff. And it was like I said I just let it breathe for a while, right? And so this time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let it breathe because I recently saw someone I ain't even gonna give that person energy, but I saw someone say something like that, and I was like, well, let me make this post and shine on everyone real quick to give to give hope to people and let them know that they do have quality artists on BeatStars with that's willing to pay quality money for a quality product. And a lot of times we may get discouraged and we may say things like that about the BeatStars marketplace. But y'all, I'm telling you, like right now, BeatStars marketplace is legit a whole nother revenue source that I even have. Like I get sales from my pro page and stuff, but legit another one of my like major stuff and sales is from the BeatStars marketplace. And on top of that, the beat and another thing is too, they say that only people that come to BeatStars only looking for trap beats. That's not true. You want to know why? Because the beat that was purchased from me was a pop piano ballad. Because I'm very good at making pop piano ballads. It- Plug if any artist want custom pop piano ballad beats, I'm that guy. But that was the beat that was purchased for $1,000. It wasn't a trap beat. So once again, that's another myth. People only trying to pay $1,000 for trap beats. Nah, bro. They buying. I don't. My catalog is maybe 5%, literally 5% trap. The reason why it's 5% is because those are the beats I'm making for BeatStars playlist to try to get on there. So I just want to just pune all these myths out because like it's I don't want to say discouraging, but to any producer, and if you do trap, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I want you to get your money, right? But for those who are like discouraged, don't be. There's people in there looking for K-pop. There's people in there looking for disco. There's people looking for Christmas, Halloween, just all types of tracks. And I really want to be the voice and have the opportunity to talk on this platform to really say that because I feel like that's not getting said and someone needs to say it. And I also like the fact that BeatStars understands this. Like they're not just promoting trap beats, they're promoting Sam Smith, Dua Lipa. That's why I love this platform so much because like I'm not going to talk about other platforms, but I love the fact that BeatStars are always trying to promote like diversity in the producers that's on the platform, like whether they do pop, K-pop, and Pan, you done had a bunch of them. That's how I learned a lot. I learned a lot from watching these lives. So I feel like all these myths, everyone, for everything that someone's gonna say, I got something I want to say about it because I went through this experience. I can actually talk about it. It's verified. I that's why I shared the picture because everybody like it ain't real if you don't share the picture. Okay, I might have another $1,000 beat with this person too. So yeah, so I just want to talk. I just wanted to really dive into that particular myth, man. Because yeah,
This is one of the stupidest conversations I've ever gotten into. Um, and when someone says something this egregiously stupid to me, there's always some harm in it because it's being said publicly. There are so many producers, and a lot of them, the thing is, this is going to sound mean. A lot of the producers that aren't selling beats either aren't ready to sell beats or they're just not going about everything correctly. And
right,
it's hard to know that you're not going about everything correctly because you're there.
right,
You don't know what other people are going through. Like when I first got on BeatStars, it seemed like some of these producers just had it easy. They were
right,
just selling beats in their sleep. And I didn't know the groundwork they had to do to get to that point. And I
mhm,
didn't even know for a fact that they actually were selling beats in their sleep. A lot of them are just eating, living, and breathing this. And so it's easy to be on the outside looking in and create these myths in your head. And so the dumbest thing someone said was like, because I tweeted out, rappers don't just want to buy trap beats. And someone challenged me. They're like, I bet your number one selling beat is a trap beat. My number one selling beat, my number 2, 3, 4, and 5, none of them are trap beats.
right. Mine too. Mine as well. Mine as
So
well.
it's just one of those things where it's like, why are so many people trying to speak on something they don't have the experience to speak on rather than listen to the people who do have the experience? It's so much more beneficial to ask a question than just throw an assertion out there. Like if I think trap beats sell, I could go out there and ask, "Hey, what kinds of beats do you find are selling for you?" Rather than saying trap beats are the only thing that's selling. Anyone who disagrees is an idiot, and I'm going to
Right,
argue with them online. It's not helpful to anybody.
right,
But a lot of what and I think you're equally as frustrated because you're in that space too, where a lot of the people spreading these myths and discouraging other people, they're all at the same level. Like it's never a top seller saying, "Here's what I learned about selling beats.
right,
Here are all the myths." The top sellers don't have myths. They have wisdom.
right.
The people
Yes.
who have no experience have the myths. So I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
it's
on my
cool.
soapbox right
And
now,
to
but
anyone watching this, y'all, I promise you, I didn't know nothing when I first started. I really didn't. Like I just really committed to learning as much as I could because at one point I'm gonna be full transparency. At one point I was like, I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. But that goes to show you that once you educate yourself and you start realizing like, oh man, I was actually, be human about it. I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I call a spade a spade. I was wrong. But when I first started years back, that's what I thought. And as I went through my journey, I started learning that man, there's so much diversity on BeatStars. There's so many amazing producers and amazing artists that do everything. Whether you make trap beats or whether you make R&B and pop, it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to discourage any trap producers or anything like that with what I'm saying. But this is me speaking towards the producers who feel like it's only like that. So I was once like that too. But y'all, please believe me, there's a lot of people looking for stuff besides trap, and there are people that's looking a lot for trap too. So I think it's room for everybody. I think it's one of the things to where like they thought you think everyone is in the room wants trap beats, but then you realize, oh man, there's a lot of people in the room that wants a little bit of everything, and there's room for everybody. You know, so I feel that there's a lot of diversity on the platform, and you know, I like the fact that BeatStars promotes that, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna stick with doing that.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm always preaching diversity in music because it's very much needed.
Yeah, because like I'm just even thinking about the top sellers, and yeah, there's someone like, oh boy, right? who's
Mm-hmm.
a top selling trap producer, and granted, his beats sound amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But then to answer to him, you got a Dilly got a bumping, and
Yeah.
for like every Angel La Ciencia, you have
Yep.
a um a mantra, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They're all top sellers. They're all winning, and they are very different styles of
And
production.
you know what your question was? I was about to say another statement because I wanted to say something else.
I was gonna move on to the next question, but go ahead and say it.
I just want to say that speaking of naming all these producers, y'all, uh one thing I did was I know sometimes as producers we try to like not all of us, but sometimes you might try to copy price points or copy like the exact type of beat, and then you wonder why you're still not selling. And the whole point of this is, and the reason why I try to do these lives is to educate y'all on how to do something so you can kind of do it on your own terms. Because I do know a lot. I've had producers reach out to me. I love y'all, but if you complain that I made the exact beat you make in the same price points, I'm still not selling. The reason why is because if you make something like DJ Payne or like Cloud9 Music or like any other producer, why would the artist go to you and they can just go to that producer, right? So take these ideas and use them for your own, right? I actually looked at Mantra, I looked at Contrabands because I wanted to do pop. I looked at every producer that he just said. I looked at them literally for a whole year, every now and then to figure out, okay, I don't want to copy that style of their beats. I don't want to even copy their price points. I want to understand what is going on. And a lot of stuff I could kind of see just by looking. I don't have to ask no one no questions. I'm like, okay, the quality is better. The mix is really good. You know, the arrangement is good. Oh, this person might have some really good hooks. Maybe I make a lot of beats with hooks now. It has my voice on it. I might not have the best voice in the world, but my beats with hooks sell because what I'm saying means something, right? So if you look at a lot of people that sell beats with hooks, the hooks are meaningful or they're catchy. So these are things I kind of learned. I didn't try to make a DJ Payne one beat with a hook. I made a Cloud9 beat with what I feel on what my topic is, and I made it my own with my own voice. So I just want to I really want to say that on this live too. So my best advice is don't copy people price points and don't copy people's sounds. Understand these simple things like the mix. Uh, is this a certain key? What's the key of the beat? It might be a popular key. People might like C major, G major. These are things that I looked at when it came to me helping me get better. So I just want to put that out there too. I'm sorry, Payne. You can go with the next question.
I was gonna ask about YouTube,
Mhm.
but you already kind of answered it. You spoke on YouTube being really not a priority for you. Why is
It's
YouTube
not.
not a priority for you?
Okay. For me, okay, so prior to 2020, I know a lot of people I know a lot of people now seeing me on BeatStars like, man, this dude then blew up. But what y'all don't know is I worked in media, corporate media for like 10 years, right? So I was extremely died down on time. We talked about me working in radio in the last interview, but for me, I didn't have enough time to be just putting stuff up on YouTube, right? So what I did was at the time I was going to either Twitter or even Facebook, and I would like find artists and I would just have conversations with them. And I wanted to build. To me, it was like if I can get 10 people to pay this amount of money and keep on doing it, and I'm making a good product, I can keep increasing that and add them to my email list. And that's what I did. I didn't want it. I didn't have enough time to understand how YouTube worked. I didn't have enough time to understand how thumbnails work. I didn't have no time for all of that. Like I think that's one of the things that we all need to think about as producers is the time that it takes to do these things. If you, for me, right? If it takes you however, let's say it takes you like 2 hours or 3 hours to make the video, put up on YouTube, find the keywords, all of that hoopla, right? By the time it took you to do that in 3 hours, I done contacted a bunch of artists on IG and more than likely probably got some sales coming from that. So what you did in 3 hours, you haven't even had a conversation yet. So for me, when I would get off from work, I wasn't trying to dedicate 3 hours to figuring all this stuff out with YouTube. I wanted to go find the source. So that's what I did. I went to go find the source. So I did that for a long time, and I just stopped using YouTube. I only just started using YouTube, and I did that because I also wanted to prove a point that you can get sales from YouTube if you don't have a lot of subscribers and views. That was another myth they had out there, that you can't get sales from YouTube if you don't have subscribers or views. I've proved that wrong. I did. I think the first month, or maybe the last 6 months, I think I did like maybe like under, full transparency, probably like under $1,000 on YouTube. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I'm literally just playing around with stuff. I just I I think the most important thing is um not being afraid to target artists that you might find that no one is looking for. Like I have like all kinds of different, like I'm about to put up a, a rock beat, like Lenny Kravitz, rock type beat, just because I want to. I don't care. Like I'm having fun, man. I think a lot of times just have fun. Just have fun and think about the time it takes to do all of these things.
I was gonna ask too, something I noticed about your YouTube channel is that you focus a lot on women musicians. Is that just part of your strategy? Is that just that those are the artists that you listen to? What's the reason for that?
Okay, so my reason for that is over the years I've worked with a lot of female artists, and I've learned a lot of what they go through, and um I wanted to be able to kind of be a producer that can kind of provide that, because a lot of times female artists might hit up a producer, and unfortunately it's a bad experience. And for me, I listen to a lot of female rap. I listen to a lot of female artists more than male. I'm listening right now. I'm listening to like her. I'm about to listen to Jasmine Sullivan. So most of the stuff I listen to is female dominated. So I want to be able to provide that. You know, I do a lot of ballads. Granted, there's a lot of male artists that do ballads, but the artists I'm listening to that mostly do ballads like Demi Lovato, uh, Adele, stuff like that. So it's not really it's not like, I wouldn't say it's a strategy for the most part. I just want to let the female audience know, like, hey, I'm here. If you need these type of tracks, I do listen to these artists that I'm putting up, like Rico Nasty and all of those. And if you want to network with me, I'm approachable. I'm not going to try to do no like slimy stuff or whatever, because I don't even want to get into that. But that was one of the
Well,
things I
yeah,
did. Yeah,
it's it's something we should get into, honestly.
I know, right?
Who was it that God, I wish someone tweeted, normalize not being a creep and making women uncomfortable in studio sessions or
Yeah.
something to that effect. And I'm sure it's been said before and it'll continue to be said, but it's something that definitely needs to be said over and over. And I get uncomfortable in studio sessions if there are a bunch of men in the room and a woman comes in. It's like, fuck, here we go,
And
because I know what it's gonna be like.
and if you're a producer, like, I'm gonna just give you advice, because like I'm extremely grateful to the female artists I've worked with. Like I've gotten TV placements, I've gotten major opportunities with different brands because I've worked on incredible songs with a lot of female artists, and they're independent, they're doing their thing. And if whenever you talking to a female artist, just be human. Let them know straight up, like, hey, look, I want to make sure this conversation is as comfortable as possible. For me, I always say I worked with female artists in the past. Here's my credits. Um, at any time, just let me know. I want to make sure that this conversation is as comfortable as possible. So I always let them know that. Don't call a woman bro, y'all. Stop that too. It's 2021. We shouldn't be doing that. Um, and just be human. Cause like for me, a lot of artists I like to work with or hit up are female artists. So I have to make sure that they know that I'm a human being first. I'm a good human being first off. I'm not trying to do no slimy stuff or try to like disrespect you or get in your pants. I just want you to know that I have this quality product, and I listen to the music, and I like it, and I would like to work with you. And a lot of times I get to work with a lot of female artists that make some incredible music that's working on a lot of different projects, and I'm grateful for that. So that's kind of like what I learned over the years. Like, and it was hard at first because I didn't know how I can build that trust factor with female artists, because it's it's a little bit hard because they don't know, like, man, he seemed nice now, but you know what might happen. So I think just try to be as professional as possible when you're working with female artists, and they'll convey and they'll understand that, you know.
Isn't that crazy that we have to say that though? Because we don't have to say like male producers don't have to be reminded to behave professionally when they're
Right.
working with male rappers anyway. Um,
Hmm.
so Bufo's about to cry. I'm sorry, I didn't see the question. I guess he wants to
What
ask you
happened?
about Facebook ads.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I guess I don't know what's your experience with Facebook ads.
Okay, so full disclosure, I don't use paid advertising, y'all. The only paid advertising I use is BeatStars promo. That's it. Um, so I don't use Facebook ads. I'm not knocking Facebook ads. For me personally, I just don't do them. I have my me personally, I from I've done it before. I've done the YouTube ads. I've done Facebook ads. I even did Twitter ads at one point and Instagram ads. At one point, probably around like maybe 2018, 2017, I was making a good amount of money from Facebook ads, and then slowly it kind of stopped for whatever reason. Probably because Facebook had a lot of updates and stuff. But I've seen that I put the same amount of money I might put into Facebook ads. I use that in BeatStars promo, and I usually my track record right now. Anytime I put money in BeatStars promo, I usually get I either break even or I make profit. I never lose. I'm either even or I make profit. So it's one of the things that if it's not broke, then don't fix it, or something like that. It's saying. So if I'm doing it and it's working, I'm gonna just keep doing it. But I can tell you this: if you are on Facebook, I'm gonna give you another gem. Uh, use face use Facebook groups, right? If you run in Facebook Pixel, use Facebook groups, post a really good blog post or something of value that links to your pro page. That traffic from that Facebook group will go to your pro page. Now you have that information in your pro page. So now when you run ads, you can swing it back if those people join your emails. I think that's more because I didn't have money when I first did this, y'all. I really didn't, and I just don't pay money for promo except for BeatStars. But I did everything free, and that's how I know it works. How? Because I did it right. So go. There's a lot of Facebook groups. They got like 100, like literally, I'm in Facebook groups that got maybe like 100,000 people in it. All you got to do is type in rappers or musicians or music marketing promotion, and all these groups will come up. You join them, introduce yourself, do something of value at least once a week, get that traffic to your website, and that's how you would bring that traffic in, right? So I think that's like a really good gem if you don't have money to do Facebook ads, because I really don't want y'all losing money. So me personally, I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, yeah, you should, because Pain, I know you do too, and I know you and I know BeatStars have really good tutorials on it. So if it works for y'all, keep doing it. That's the point I'm making. If it works, keep doing it. At least I would say at least try it. Try it first so you can have an opinion on it. So I don't want to say don't do it, but if at least try it out and see if it works. If you want to run Facebook ads.
So here's a question then, because you
Hmm.
did mention that you do use BeatStars ads. What promo do you find the most effective?
All three. All three. I've at one point I thought it was the profile, but now I kind of got my little magic with it. So my best advice I can tell anyone is if you running promo, make sure the beat is very, very, very specific. Um, I learned over time that uh, at least for me, I was noticing when I compared now that I make money, I get the BeatStars promo works because once again, the artist lets me know. Not all of them reply back, but majority of them do, and they'll let me know that they saw it on the front page of BeatStars or they saw like the ad somewhere or something like that, right? So that lets me know. But if you're gonna do a beat and if it's let's do Drake because I know a lot of people do Drake. If you do Drake, what I would have did was do like Drake certified Lover Boy type beat or do Drake 40 because we know 40 is a producer. You already know what that sound is like, or do Drake R&B type beat and run a promo for that. So that way people already know what it is, right? So make sure that it's very specific. Like if you're doing drill, what type of artist it is. And I think that was that was one of the keys. If you're running an album of beats, be very specific about what this album is. Just don't call it hip hop beats because they're just not going to click on it, right? And if you do a profile, for the love, y'all, please respond to y'all notifications, because when these people are following you from your profile, as soon as you see that person follow you, reply back, because that means they're active on the platform, and more likely you can get a conversation started. So I use all three. All three have been effective for me. It just depends on what I want to do at that time and at that moment. Payne, I can't hear you.
That was my fault.
Nah, what was the question
I
again?
was muted. It's a
Okay.
big question. What makes you stand out I'm wondering why you're ripping your AirPod. What makes you stand out from other producers? Because there are a lot of producers on the platform.
Okay. I can. Okay, so think about it from this point. Like, I don't think about too much how I stand out from producers. I think about what value I give to artists as a producer from than other
Mhm.
producers. I know a lot about TV, film, and sync. I know a lot about how to monetize music outside of BeatStars. I can give an artist, for instance, let me ask you this question. Not you, Payne, but to the audience. Can you offer an artist 20 different ways to make money with their music without them paying for it? See what I'm saying? If you can't even think about that, that's how I beat out my competition. Um, I'm very good at arrangements. I put my arrangements up against pretty much anyone. They're simple, but it's a format and it works. I worked in and it's and more so I worked in radio. I know what the format is. So I know how to fit to these different radio formats if need be. I can Another thing is too, if an artist having right I've had several artists reach out and buy beats from me because of this. I can write full songs, not just hooks, full songs, right? So I've been paid to ghostwrite. I can't talk about it because it's ghostwriting, but I've been paid to do that, right? I've been paid for my songwriting. I can do pretty much, if you go to my page right now, I have three versions of one beat. I have the full version, which is me doing my thing. I got the hook version, I got the regular version. So that's how for me personally, I think I stand out, because unlike a lot of other producers, I've studied songwriting. And I might not have the best demos, but I guarantee that my demos are better than a lot of other people. And I know that because of my sales and because of my licensing opportunities.
So you're selling full songs then?
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Yeah. So like sometimes, and it's not so much the full songs, it's the fact that you help artists get through a writer's block. So a lot of times artists might go on BeatStars, they may download the beat, but they got to write to it. And that's one thing I learned. Like, so I would ask them like, hey, look, if I gave you a version of this beat with like a concept idea, would that help? And a lot of them said, yeah, but they told me it gotta be really, really good. It gotta be fire for them to really rock with it. So I said, okay, bet, I got you. So I started doing that. I've been doing songwriting since I was in high school. It was just something I studied while I was in high school, and it just got stronger the more I practiced. So I think the best thing for me that I kind of do is I bring wisdom to the table. I bring a lot of wisdom to the table. So when you buying a beat, you're not just paying for a beat. Any artist watching this know that buys a beat from me that watch this already know. KloudNine, hey bro, I'm thinking about trying to do this. Do you know a way I can make money from this? More than likely, I probably do. You know, but they have access to me because they have invested in me. If someone's not investing in me, I can't really give you that time back. I got to get that to the people that invest in me. So I got to make sure that, if someone asks me a question here and there, I might get back to them. But if an artist buying a beat from me and they're investing in me, then you damn sure believe we gonna get money together. Period. Because I want to see artists win.
All right, how do people follow you and reach out to you and stay connected with you?
So if any artists want to reach out to me, it's three letters: KNM.world. That's KNM.world. If you go to it, it'll bring you to where you can buy beats from me, how you can contact me. I got a tab that says music business gems for a blog I have. so you can experience some of the wisdom that I have. So if you read it and you like what you read, you come rock with me. Let's do something together. And to any artist watching this, if you buy beats from me next year, this is going to be exclusive to everyone that buy a beat from me. I'm going to have something of value for you, like a cheat sheet of how you can monetize your music. And it's not no fluff stuff. It's real stuff. You ain't got to pay nothing to or whatever like that. You just, when you rock with me, I'm going to give you value. And any artist that then brought a beat from me, y'all already know I got something coming from y'all for that email list and that text list. So please believe that cheat sheet is coming soon.
Well, once again, I appreciate that. We've just run out of time, and I still have a bunch of questions, so I'm going to reach out and we're going to
Part
figure
three.
out the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yep, part 3 is coming soon. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Always love to see the energy and the support and the interaction. So I'll be back next Thursday with Mini Producer. That's part 2 with Mini Producer. Might become a trilogy. Who knows? Have your questions ready because it's the same. Like I love the part 2s because the part 1s I'm usually going heavy with the questions, but part 2 I might relax a little bit. So if you have questions for if you don't remember, Mini Producer is the producer who talked about it, some amazing stuff, such as number 1, making 10 beats a day. Number 2, his experience before he transitioned as a woman in the producer space versus as a man in the producer space, which is something I can't even fathom. And then a whole lot of stuff about marketing because he's just the king of social media content. So tune in for that. Get some questions ready. Same format. Hope I see you all there and have a great week. KloudNine, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for the part 3 announcement. It's coming soon. Appreciate everyone.
Thank you.